Tonight on 7 News, Under the Pump, Australia's petrol price fight and grim interest rate predictions.
Plot twist, new charges levelled against Fremantle author Craig Silvey.
The Bondi blunder, a WA football icon concedes he missed the mark during a pre-match tribute.
The big rig sitting off a Perth beach, crucial to our city's future.
Should employers fork out for weight loss drugs? The wild plan to keep staff happy.
A family affair for the Aussies at the Oscars. No glory, but plenty of love.
Live from Perth, this is 7 News with Tim McMillan and Angela Tsun.
Good evening. The pain at the pump might be hurting families and households right across Australia, but we're being warned that's just the start of it.
Borrowers are now bracing for a second blow. The fuel crisis spelling trouble ahead of tomorrow's interest rate call, with another hike looming large.
The final exports of higher sulphur petrol loading at Ampol's Brisbane refinery today before those supplies are redirected to petrol-starved rural Australia.
We'll be getting that petrol out to people as quickly as we possibly can.
We want Australian fuel working for Australians. And this government has absolutely failed to achieve that.
The government says that's about to happen. The official paperwork now done, allowing the export fuel to be redirected within a week, along with another 760 million litres released today from national reserves.
We're working round the clock to make sure that we can get the supplies where they need to be right across Australia.
As prices at the Bowser go through the roof. Since America's war with Iran began, world oil prices have risen by 30 cents a litre, but Australian petrol prices have jumped by 58 cents. That's sent inflation higher, putting pressure on the Reserve Bank. Market predictions of a rate hike tomorrow have skyrocketed from 0 the day the war started to 71% today.
And markets are expecting 3 rate rises this year, one tomorrow, one in May and one after that.
The war's now expected to fire inflation back towards 5% this year, way above the Reserve's target of below 3. Manufacturers warning today that if the war drags on, Australian consumers could be hit by a price shock to rival the COVID crisis.
Homegrown inflation in this country is raging.
And so is the blame game.
We just have towns with no fuel, Murray, and it's...
Barnaby, you agreed to store our fuel in Texas.
Fueling a political firestorm. The government says the extra fuel from the reserves should start flowing straight away and the redirected export supplies later this week or early next, assuring motorists that once that export fuel is blended with domestic supplies, the sulphur content will still be just a third of what it was under the old standards that were only phased out 3 months ago. All that extra supply being poured into the system over the next couple of weeks should put a lid on prices at the Bowser. And the ACCC will be burning the midnight oil to ensure drivers aren't getting unfairly thumped at the petrol pump. Ange?
Mark, thank you. Let's go to Rebecca Petroska now. Beck, tomorrow is normally the cheapest day for fuel in Perth.
And not anymore. The price cycle is dead for now. There is some slightly good news for Tuesday though. Prices will pretty much stay the same, dipping by on average just ½ cent. If you are planning to fill up tomorrow, check the Fuel Watch website. Prices vary from $2.60 a litre down to $1.99. Diesel is going up almost 3 cents a litre. It'll be interesting to see what prices do on Wednesday, which traditionally has been the most expensive day to buy petrol. But Tim, it seems for now the usual rules just don't apply.
Seems not. Thank you, Beck. The conflict in the Middle East could be over in weeks, according to US officials, as a new war of words fires up over the Strait of Hormuz. And there's deepening mystery tonight over the whereabouts of Iran's new supreme leader.
With every new missile launched from Iran, a swift and devastating response from America. While Donald Trump launches verbal airstrikes from Air Force One.
We've essentially defeated Iran. They want to negotiate badly. I don't think they're ready.
The Iranians firing back.
No, we never asked for a ceasefire, and we have never ask even for negotiation.
But it's the Strait of Hormuz that remains a political battleground. Iran's PR video showing its deadly intent as President Trump ratchets pressure, especially on NATO countries, to join his naval coalition.
Whether we get support or not, but I can say this, and I said it to them, we will remember.
With Australian Air Force planes already in the region, questions on whether our ships and sailors will be asked to follow.
It's something we're not contributing to. I'm not aware of whether there's an ask.
And with still no sighting of Iran's new supreme leader, Kuwaiti media reporting he's in Russia, taken by a Russian military plane for successful surgery because of the impossibility of treating him while Iran was under attack. That as Iran's missiles continued to penetrate Israeli airspace. We watched one smash into Tel Aviv today. A cluster bomb, no one killed. So close to our hotel, we beat the ambulances there. Iran is playing the long game here, trickling out these drone and missile attacks across the region and, of course, strangling the Strait of Hormuz. They've effectively been planning for this war for more than 40 years. But Israel is set for the long haul too. The war has overwhelming support here.
Mr. Lapid, Chris Reason, good to meet you.
Israel's opposition leader and former Prime Minister Yair Lapid claims the war was the only way to roll a regime determined to destroy his country.
I mean, think of Australia before Bondi Beach. If you had an opportunity to stop this father and son, would you do it? Yes.
He's unapologetic on the regional conflict, oil and trade chaos, insisting Iran would have sparked a nuclear war.
Is it worth it?
Can you imagine what would a nuclear war do to energy prices, to the stock market? You know what? The standard of living of the people of Australia.
In Lebanon, with a death toll up to 850, reports that peace talks will start in days. Too late for this family. All 4 daughters killed, the eldest 13. The father... Israel says it's targeting infrastructure, he says. Where is the infrastructure?
Let's go to Chris Reason in Tel Aviv, who has developing news from the Israeli Defence Force.
Good evening. The IDF releasing a statement that its 91st Galilee Division has now begun major ground operations into southern Lebanon, expanding that border further north as the government here has announced a major call-up of 450,000 reservists expected to join that operation into Lebanon imminently. Meanwhile, Donald Trump's call-up of nations to join his naval coalition haven't been enthusiastically embraced. The UK, Japan and Australia now all reluctant. Mr. Trump says he's approached 7 countries. They haven't identified exactly which ones yet.
Chris Reason, thank you. There's been a twist in the Craig Silvey child exploitation case. Detectives have now linked a 68-year-old woman from Perth's north to the alleged crimes. The surprising development came as investigators slapped both with new charges.
Craig Silvey's world publicly unravelled in January. The award-winning author charged with possessing and distributing child exploitation material. And today, police allege it goes even further. The father of 3 is now accused of producing child exploitation material back in 2022. He's also been hit with another count for allegedly possessing it. Inside court, a striking detail from his lawyer, Natalia Tasic, telling the magistrate one of the author's offences relates to written material.
Was Mr. Silvey expecting his 2 latest charges?
Now facing a total 4 charges, investigators only uncovered the new evidence after seizing his devices. But what they claim to have found didn't end there. Forensic examination of Craig Silvey's computers allegedly led police to a 68-year-old woman from Marangaroo. She's now also been charged with producing and distributing child exploitation material alongside Craig Silvey.
Who is the other woman? Did you know her personally? While police have made the link between Silvey and the 68-year-old woman, it is still unclear what exactly the relationship between the pair is.
From celebrated author to accused offender, Silvey's work, including Jasper Jones and children's novel Runt, has been pulled from shelves and classrooms nationwide. He'll be back in court in May for a case which has now taken a dramatic plot twist.
Are you a pedophile, Mr. Silvey?
Sam Haberland, 7 News.
A tribute to the victims of the Bondi terror attack at the SCG has sparked a political firestorm. The AFL's been referred to the Royal Commission into anti-Semitism. Late today, Swan's CEO Matthew Pavlich conceded he removed a direct reference to the Jewish community.
In a moment meant to unify.
To honour those who were injured and to those who lost their lives at Bondi Beach in December.
It was what wasn't said that's become the Swans' own goal.
I own it as a CEO. That's on me. I take full responsibility.
The Swans CEO admitting he deleted direct reference to the Jewish community from his speech.
It was about being inclusive to everyone was out there on the field with our players and with our coaches. And again, that was the brave responders, the community heroes, and of course, the Jewish community.
It was former Swan Gerard Healy who called out the club for changing the script.
The word Jew wasn't mentioned at all on the night. And it's upset a lot of Jewish people.
Liberal Senator James Patterson demanding the AFL be hauled to the Royal Commission into anti-Semitism.
I've asked the Royal Commission to direct the AFL to keep all records, all documents and all correspondence, both internal AFL communications and communications with the Sydney Swans.
But in another twist late today, Pavlich admitting he changed the script after the AFL had ticked it off.
To be really clear, we worked on it internally. We sent that to the AFL. We also worked on it from there and ended up doing what we did.
Laura Turner, 7 News.
Work has begun on the final stages of 2 pipelines crucial to securing Perth's water supply. It involves Australia's biggest jack-up barge and a locally trained workforce of 50.
Named the Beverley, the barge sits on its 78-metre-long legs just off Alkimos in Perth's north. Its crew will work 24/7, constructing the final components of 2 subsea pipelines.
It is very tricky. You can imagine anything out in that sort of depth of water and going down below the seabed is challenging, but it's normal sort of work that we do.
The drilling of those 2 pipelines started 8 months ago. One for sucking in seawater, the other longer pipe for discharging brine residue. It's a $2.8 billion project that will generate 50 billion litres of drinking water a year, with room to double that. Desalination plants were at one time very controversial, but that's changed, and the reason is climate change. We have 3 of them now feeding into Perth's water supply and more planned for other parts of the state, including Albany and Esperance.
It's about future-proofing the state, making sure that we can respond to changing climates and making sure that we have water for the future.
The Alkimos plant is due to come online in mid-2028. The Beverley will finish its part in a few months, but will be a familiar sight off our beaches.
Buying this barge and bringing this equipment out, we've chosen to build our own workforce and local employees doing this work.
The company has its eye on the expansion of the Henderson Defence Precinct. Jeff Parry, 7 News.
A house in Pickering Brook has been badly damaged by fire. The blaze broke out on Repatriation Road just before 12:30 this afternoon. It began in the roof of the property. No one was at home at the time.
All the pool stuff on the roof was all burning, like all the heater pool. I think it's a pretty old home, yeah, it's got quite a bit of heritage and that behind it.
Fire crews managed to bring it under control within an hour. The cause has been deemed accidental.
The awards have been handed out and the celebrations are just getting underway after this year's Academy Awards in Hollywood.
While high hopes were riding on our Aussie nominees, it wasn't meant to be. All overlooked for Oscars, but still doing us proud.
Leo, straight ahead, what's up?
When it comes to the Oscars, it's the who's who of Hollywood. And this year, Australia sent in a strong cast.
I'm so proud of our country men and women.
Rose Byrne stunned in Christian Dior, a nominee for Best Actress.
My sisters came in from Sydney and Melbourne. So happy to be here. It's amazing. Finally.
Brisbane's Jacob Elordi made it a family affair, his mum by his side. So too for Australian production designer Fiona Crombie.
It's a total honour. I've got my family here, so I've got my kids here.
And Joel Edgerton, the star of Train Dreams, all our homegrown talent flying the flag at the 98th Academy Awards.
We're overachievers.
Stars on the carpet and in the show. Rose reunited with her bridesmaids.
Oh, this one's from me.
Flexing her comedic talent.
The eye contact is too much. I'm thinking of leaving. I'm very uncomfortable. Sincerely, Leonardo DiCaprio. I apologise. I have been staring at you. I thought you were somebody else.
It turned out to be a night of reunions when Harry met Sally, Marvel and Moulin Rouge.
All you need is love.
Deja vu for the host. Funny man Conan O'Brien back fronting the marathon show.
This is how all Oscars will be handed out tonight.
It is the finale of award season, the ultimate A-list pat on the back as Hollywood's highest honour is handed out to the best of the best.
And the nominees are...
Australia's dreams of Oscar glory dashed. Jacob Elordi overlooked for his role in Frankenstein, Byrne losing out to Hamnet's Jessie Buckley.
My family, my Irish family, they're all here. Ireland bought them flights.
Sinners star Michael B. Jordan winning Best Actor in the tightly fought category.
Yeah, Mama, what's up?
And Best Picture.
One battle after another.
Leonardo DiCaprio's film taking the night's top honour. But it's not over yet. Win or lose, the next fashion parade has just begun as stars make their way to the after party. In Hollywood, Miley Hogan, 7 News.
Sam Jolly joins us now. And Sam, we're in an autumn hot spell at the moment.
We are, Tim. Today was our second day in the 30s and we have 7 more to go. It's getting as hot as 36 degrees midweek. That is well above average for this time of year. It was warm overnight. The low was 19.5. Then it climbed to 32 degrees exactly in the city this afternoon, and that was just before 2 p.m. Some areas made it to 33, including the airport, Bullsbrook and the Swan Valley. Our coolest suburb, 30, that was along the coast in Hillary, so not too much difference across the metro area. And here's what's driving our autumn heat. We have a high forming in the Bight, and that's in combination with a trough that's developing down our coastline, and that is going to deepen, and that is going to give us some very hot days. It's not just the days, the hot nights are back as well, Tim and Adge, and I'll have the forecast after sport.
Thank you, Sam. Next on 7 News, boating tragedy.
3 fishermen found dead. The warning they received before heading out onto the water.
Prince William shares a never-before-seen photo of his mum.
Also, the daring operation to save 6 teenage hikers where they were stuck.
And parents facing tough conversations over Australia's extreme online beauty obsession. A must-see special report after sport.
You're never far away from the news with the 7 News app. Download it now to be notified on the news that matters as it happens. Download the 7 News app now.
In this chair will sit a celebrity who needs help.
It's going to be like a hot seat where we tear them apart.
Not so much tear them apart. It's not a hot seat. We care about these people.
We're going to take them down a peg or two.
No.
One of Perth's most notorious underworld figures was back in court today, vowing to fight allegations he breached tough anti-bikie laws. Troy McCanty pleaded not guilty to consorting with a named offender on 2 or more occasions in New South Wales in December. The laws give police powers to stop bikies associating with one another. A trial date will be set in May.
6 teenagers have been winched to safety from the summit of Queensland's Mount Barney, west of the Gold Coast. This video showing the rescue team helping the 18 and 19-year-old boys almost 20 hours after they became lost. The hiking group spent the night there with difficult terrain and low light, preventing an overnight operation.
Tragic mistakes have led to the deaths for 3 experienced New South Wales fishermen off the South Australian coast. The alarm was raised when the trio failed to return to shore at Beachport, around 300 kilometres southeast of Adelaide. It's understood the men ignored warnings from locals and they weren't wearing life jackets.
A sad sight on a wet and lonely beach.
I'm so sorry you've lost some beautiful guys there.
3 mates on a fishing trip, 74-year-old Les DeMamiel, a doting grandfather, Russell Fisher, and lastly, John McKenzie.
Just the most beautiful people.
They left land at sunrise on Sunday after meeting at the pub the night before. Friend Dorothy Hill says the trio from Collyamberley in New South Wales were looking forward to getting out onto the water.
They actually died doing what they absolutely loved.
Police, however, say conditions were too dangerous, even for professional fishermen.
I'm no water expert, but if the locals are saying don't go out, then there's probably a very good reason for it.
And by the afternoon, the men were nowhere to be found. A passing pilot spotting a body on the beach and the upturned 7-metre bar crusher near Demol Reef.
It's a tragic end to what should have been a pretty standard trip for these gentlemen.
The group had a successful trip on Saturday, but despite warnings, set out again on Sunday in conditions locals have described as rough and deceptive, like a whirlpool.
But I wouldn't go out in those conditions.
67-year-old Russell suffered a spinal injury some years ago and couldn't swim. Their boat had life jackets, but police say none of the men was wearing one. Hayden Nelson, 7 News.
Prince William has shared a touching tribute to his mum to mark Mother's Day in the UK. The heir to the throne posting this never-before-seen photo of Princess Diana sitting in a field full of wildflowers with a then 2-year-old William.
Israel's Defence Force claims the man who attacked an American synagogue was the brother of a Hezbollah commander responsible for managing weapons. The IDF claims that commander was killed during an Israeli missile strike a week earlier. 41-year-old Ayman Ghazali died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound after crashing a truck packed with explosives into the Michigan synagogue last week.
Still to come this news hour on 7.
The growing number of young people needing a roof over their head in Perth. No home, no bed, the surprising place they're forced to sleep.
Also, extra licence conditions imposed on the network behind Kyle and Jackie O.
We're on tour with Queen Mary and King Frederick, their next stop.
And later, Ozempic for children, the next move in the fight against the obesity epidemic.
There's been a 30% increase in children and young people sleeping rough on the streets of Perth.
Dozens are being turned away from crisis accommodation centres every night because there are simply not enough beds. Lucy Murray reports.
This is where teenagers turn when they have nowhere to go. Run by Mission Australia, there are 6 beds. Every night, they're full. Staff forced to turn away dozens of young people.
Very, very difficult situation because each young person comes with a unique story and we would love to help each and every one of them.
Last week, 320 teenagers and young people were homeless in Perth. Of these, 73 were sleeping on the street. Just 3 crisis beds were available, meaning most were turned away. For many, their safest option is riding the train all night.
You know that when that young person walks out that door, you have offered them nothing.
8 service providers outside Parliament, calling for $150 million to build and run the much-needed accommodation for people under 25. In the past 30 years, the state has added just 6 extra beds for kids in crisis. That's just 6 beds since the 1990s, while the state's population has increased by 1 million. That's according to Mission Australia, one of the state's oldest charities. Homelessness Minister Matthew Swinburne says the government has more than $25 million invested in accommodation and support services to assist young people. But the impact on children who don't have a safe place to sleep is immeasurable. Caitlin was 11 when she became homeless, growing up in a car and tent.
When you got housing, how much did that change your life?
It completely saved my life. Being able to get housing and go back to school was the only way sort of out of, I guess, generational poverty.
Lucy Murray, 7 News.
A convicted domestic violence offender will fight allegations he further terrorised his victim. Ryan Tucker pleaded not guilty to repeatedly breaching violence restraining orders and protective bail conditions. Police say it happened after a violent attack in Northbridge. This video was played as part of the proceedings. The 35-year-old is also denying a charge of aggravated stalking and possessing drug paraphernalia. A magistrate will decide his fate in May.
They may be off-air, but controversy continues to follow Carl and Jackie O. The Australian Communications and Media Authority today hitting Kiss FM with new broadcasting rules. The media watchdog stating these additional licence conditions mean further breaches will attract strong enforcement action that was not otherwise available. Tomorrow marks the 14-day deadline Sandilands was given to remedy an alleged contract breach relating to an on-air confrontation with Jackie O.
She's the leader of the brave Iranian soccer players who decided to stay in Australia. But overnight, the captain of the team gave up her visa after threats to her mother. Just 2 players now remain here.
Perhaps the start of a new life. The youngest of the Lionesses who were offered asylum, Fatima Pasandida, with FIFA's head of football in Hamilton today, saying everything will be fine, while another teammate heads back to Iran.
We want to keep them safe here, but we also understand the pressure they've been put under from the regime.
Overnight, Captain Zara Ganbari left Australia. Iran International reporting Ganbari's mother was being used to threaten her.
There was voice messages from our understanding of using her mother.
Activists say videos too. They also claim a staff member infiltrated the group, then convinced some to change their minds. Australian authorities have no evidence to support those claims.
We can't remove the context in which these players are making incredibly difficult decisions.
Of the 7 women who stayed, 5 have now left. Just 2 players remain here in Queensland. Supporters are hoping they will stay and say now is the time for calm after such a public fight to keep them safe, while their teammates wait in Malaysia to return to their war-torn homeland. Jade Richards, 7 News.
You'd be forgiven for thinking Canberra was Copenhagen, with Danish flags flying proudly in our nation's capital to welcome royalty. King Frederick and our own Queen Mary captured hearts on a day of celebration and reflection.
At the tomb of the unknown soldier, past heroes receive royal respect. King Frederick and Queen Mary honouring Flying Officer Henry James Brock, Tasmanian-born but buried in Denmark, killed in action during World War II. Outside, a sea of red and white. Every movement captured.
Nice to meet you. Hi.
All eyes on Mary.
What was your impression? So lovely. She's the nicest girl ever.
School students beside themselves.
She was very beautiful. He said he's never going to wash his hands again, though. Yeah.
Is that true?
King Frederick gets forgotten. It was amazing. They gave so much time to everyone.
But it wasn't just Aussies eager to catch a glimpse.
Very elegant as well. Yeah, I love their outfit. Yeah, I'm buzzing to be here.
These Danish backpackers made it part of their holiday.
What do people think of Queen Mary in Denmark? Do they love her?
They love her. They love her. She's awesome. Yeah.
We've received so warmly. Not yet, starting to.
King Frederick and Queen Mary have visited Canberra multiple times as a couple, but this time they bring the Danish business community with them. Representatives from 50 companies hoping to tap into the Australian market.
You have a lot to offer, you.
Focusing on green energy.
We'd love to walk hand in hand towards the sunset on that one.
Isabel Mullen.
Bye, Mary.
7 News.
This is 7 News live from Perth.
Next, calls for bosses to pay for workers to lose weight. Why the price of jabs could be set to fall.
It's raining on the Rock, a waterfall wonderland in the Red Centre.
Plus tonight's fuel code word, how you can fill up for free on us.
And coming up in sport, the Eagles finally arrive home. Ryan Daniels' exclusive airport chat with the coach is next. Plus a monster blow for the Swans and the Matildas all set for Optus Stadium.
Finding your lost money with $2.7 billion going unclaimed across bank accounts, life insurance and shares. How to grab what's rightfully yours. Plus 4 music megastars. The voice coaches Melanie C, Ronan Keating, Richard Marks and Kate Miller-Heidke live and exclusive. Start with Sunrise.
Hello. The war in the Middle East continues to rattle global markets. The ASX slumped to a 3-month low in early trading, with miners in particular heavily sold off. And as the conflict enters a third week, the resulting inflation shock is about to inflict more pain to mortgage holders, with economists pretty well united in tipping a rate rise when the RBA meets tomorrow. And for those trying to navigate their finances through these turbulent times, ASIC is warning not to mistake an ad as advice. A new survey showing 63% of Gen Zs get their advice from social media, while 1 in 5 asks AI. The ASX 200 lost more ground today. Woodside and Santos lifted on the inflated oil price. Macquarie Bank copped a $35 million fine for misreporting millions of stock trades. The Aussie dollar buying 70 US cents.
Police are hunting an arsonist who threw a Molotov cocktail through a family's bedroom window. The arson squad released this vision of the attack in Mid-Val in August last year. A woman and 3 children were asleep inside. 1 child suffered minor burns. Rewards of up to $25,000 are available for information.
The head of the company behind Ozempic is calling for wider access to the drug's reshaping obesity treatment, saying early intervention could save lives. It comes as a new international partnership is announced to tackle obesity in children across the Pacific.
Getting the royal seal of approval. A new 3-year partnership between drug maker Novo Nordisk and the Murdoch Children's Research Institute will explore how Wegovy could help children living with obesity in the Pacific.
By 2050, we project that 50 to 75% of young people there will be overweight or obese.
The CEO warns Australia faces the same crisis.
A child born in Queensland today may have a lifespan of 4 to 5 years shorter than their parents because of obesity.
Urging the government to play a bigger role in helping foster healthier lifestyles, but suggested some Australian children could benefit from the use of weight loss drugs.
If we intervene early today, before disease takes hold, we can improve health for the next generation.
What began as diabetes medicine years ago, these GLP-1 medications are quickly transforming modern healthcare. Experts say the challenge now is ensuring equal access, as they remain expensive and largely inaccessible.
As well as pushing for subsidies through the pharmaceutical benefits scheme, the CEO today revealed price cuts are on the table and workplaces could play a part covering costs.
A healthy employee is a more productive one.
There are still concerns about side effects and long-term use, but
we introduced back in 2008 and had been doing clinical trials 15 years, 10 years before that period.
A long shot, now reality. Jennifer Beshwati, 7 News.
Uluru has been turned into a waterfall wonderland. The heart of the Red Centre has received more than 70 millimetres of rain in the past 24 hours, sending water streaming down the rock. It's a treat for visitors. The site's so rare, those who witness it brag of joining the 1% Club.
The new online beauty trend that has some experts worried. Kids exposed to the strange world of extreme bodies on social media. What parents need to know. Don't miss that story soon on 7 News.
But first, Barra has sport, and the Eagles have finally arrived home, Barra.
They have, Ange, yes, and Timmy. 3 days on the Gold Coast for just one match. And guess who was with him? Ryan Daniels. We'll hear from him next. That's next. Plus, Buddy to make a comeback to footy right here in WA. And Mac Andrew gets a clip. Milan Murdoch gets the Sun star in trouble with his coach as the Eagles head for their own beds. Plus, Caleb Sarong on that controversial opening round. And could the Tillies be at full strength? The West Coast Eagles say they'll take important lessons and a renewed sense of resilience from their 59-point loss to the Suns. Our own Ryan Daniels was on the plane home with the team and he spoke exclusively with coach Andrew McWalter.
Yes, Barra, we've just landed from the Gold Coast. Minnie, I hear you guys talk about the travel toll all the time, but the game finished 24 hours ago and you're only just getting home. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, the Gold Coast airport has a curfew, so we couldn't fly out last night. But you know what, it was good for our guys. We had a team dinner last night and then they got to jump in the ocean this morning. So long flight home, but we're home now and looking forward to next week.
First half yesterday, obviously very disappointing, but half-time, something obviously switched and you won the second half. How do you analyse a game like that?
Yeah, it was a fascinating game, wasn't it? I think even maybe with about 10 minutes to go in the second quarter. The game was even on the scoreboard after then, so we just clearly didn't get the contest right in the first quarter and a half. Got smashed around the ball and we just couldn't handle Gold Coast pressure, unfortunately. So we had to rectify a few things, and I thought it was a great effort from our players to stand up and produce the second half they did, and we'll be using that as the evidence the way we want to play going forward.
One player who was really exciting on your behalf was Milan Murdoch. Just to see his pressure and the way he attacked the footy, it was encouraging, and he was one of your better players on the day.
Yeah, he was. And I got asked after the game if I was surprised, and by everything what I've seen of him, I wasn't. That's just the way he plays his footy. He's a confident young man, and I love the way his first possession in the game was on the back of a holding the ball. I think it sums up his journey so far, and he was a real energiser bunny for our team. So he had a great performance, and hopefully he can now string a few together.
Looking ahead to Sunday's game, you've had a couple of players out. Liam Baker's back from suspension, Harry Schomburg available too. What about the other guys? There's Brandon Starcevic, there's Harry Edwards, there's probably a couple more I'm forgetting as well. Yeah. Who's going to be available this week that wasn't?
Yeah, so Bakes and Harry Schomburg obviously served their suspension and will be available. We're confident Harry Edwards will get through his concussion protocols and train this week and be available. So straight away that shores up some of our backline as well. So they're really important players to us. Stas will still be a few weeks away. He's still got a little bit of prep to do before he gets himself right to play, and he's obviously missed a fair bit of football now, so we'll have to work his progression back in. What it looks like, I'm not sure yet, but we just can't wait when he's available. He'll make a big difference to our team as well.
And the other one is Elijah Hewitt. Where's he at?
Yeah, so Elijah, he won't play next week to my understanding, but I think I said last week he won't be a long-term injury. It's just a little quad, so hopefully he'll build himself up. He trained yesterday, and it won't be long.
Footy's been going for 3 weeks. You finally get a home game on Sunday against North Melbourne. You'll be excited to play in front of the fans for the first time this year and show them what you've got. Yeah,
for sure. We want to turn it up to stadium into a place where no opposition team wants to come and play. So I think the way to young teams and what we're trying to build to win at home is really our focus at the moment. We know it's hard to win away. And we try to every game, but we've got to try and win as many games as we can at Optus Stadium. North played pretty well by the looks of it on Sunday versus Port, so it's going to be a big challenge, but we can't wait for Sunday and hope as many of our fans turn up as possible.
Good luck, mate.
All right, mate. Thanks.
Thanks, Barra.
Thanks, Rhino. And Suns coach Damien Hardwick, he's given one of his stars a clip for conceding a goal after getting sucked in by Eagles debutant Milan Murdoch. Mac Andrew gave away a 50-metre penalty at the start of the game after throwing Murdoch to the ground.
Well, I was disappointed with that tonight. He's got to be... He's better than that. I know he's better than that, and that frustrated me. He knew he'd overstepped the mark.
Murdoch took to social media today to cheekily thank his former hero for helping him boot his first AFL goal. Docker Caleb Sarong has backed coach Justin Longmuir's call to scrap opening round, saying all clubs should feature in the first weekend of the season. The Fremantle vice-captain also revealed Longmuir hasn't raised the issue internally as a reason for the Dockers' loss to Geelong by 10 points.
He hasn't mentioned that once to us. He hasn't said it in the four walls, and we haven't spoken about it. So it's not something that is a narrative for us.
Next up, the Dockers host Melbourne at Optus Stadium on Saturday night. And the unbeaten Swans are reeling tonight after a major setback for Errol Goulden. The star midfielder dislocated his shoulder in the win over the Lions. He'll have surgery this week and is set to miss 4 months of footy. A hamstring strain is expected to keep Isaac Heaney out of Thursday night's clash with Hawthorn too. Collingwood will challenge the first suspension of Scott Pendlebury's 427-game career after he was given a one-match ban for rough conduct. And AFL legend Lance Buddy Franklin will play his first game since 2023 as a fundraiser for the Dowran Tigers against Gin next month. Buddy's returning to WA Central Wheatbelt to play for his old club to help them buy some new lights for their oval. Good stuff. Steph Catley and Hayley Rasso are both available for the Matildas Asian Cup semi-final against China at Optus Stadium tomorrow night. The talented pair passed concussion tests, but coach Joe Motomuro is giving nothing away.
They've cleared all the relative protocols and are in the squad for tomorrow night. Yep.
What sort of chance are they of playing?
Wait and see.
If the Matildas win tomorrow night, they'll face either South Korea or Japan in the final. And a century from Cam Green helped WA to a healthy first innings lead over New South Wales in the Sheffield Shield. The Blues now have a 196-run lead with 5 wickets in hand. OK, big night in sport. Jagger Smith, great name, Carlton player. He's the
awesome,
Rising Star nominee.
Yeah,
the Eagles could have got
Fantastic.
him, actually. Yeah, it would have been good.
Don't talk about it.
Don't mention the war.
See you guys.
Thanks, a new online movement is taking the internet by storm. Looks maxing is one of the strangest phenomenons your kids are seeing.
Preaching extreme body modifications, the influencers leading the movement say they're spreading positivity, but some experts disagree. Tonight, 7 News investigates the world of looks maxing.
For looks maxers, appearances actually are everything.
You should take accountability for your deficits.
Amplified to a predominantly male fan base aged anywhere between teenagers and mid-30s, it's an online movement adamant your entire life is predetermined by looks alone.
I saw an immense improvement in how I was respected amongst peers. Getting interest from other women.
Status achieved by altering their appearance, looks maxers preach simple things like skincare routines to more extreme measures of surgeries, smoking meth to stay skinny, or peptide usage, recently warned against by Australia's Therapeutic Goods Administration. A unique method is called bone smashing.
And you just do that for about a few minutes each day on the parts of your face where you want the bone to respond and adapt and grow bigger.
It's apparently working. They claim they've gone from this to this in just a few years. Eve St James Aquino is a philosopher at the University of Wollongong, writing a thesis on ugliness. He explains looks maxing is more about control of your own life.
The idea that beauty, attractiveness, and your body is malleable, I think that's what attracts people.
The idea of body modification is nothing new, particularly normalised for women.
Parents should be aware that it's not just with their daughters that they need to speak to, they might need to speak to their sons as well.
I'm just improving myself, is somebody who goes to work every day or seeking for a job insecure as well.
And achieving this look can be a pain. Rex Quayle, 7 News.
Sam Jolly's back with the weather now. And Sam, it's heating up.
It is, Tim. More hot autumn days and nights. I'll have the forecast after the break.
On 7 News, war shockwaves hitting your wallet, global markets swinging, petrol prices surging. Now the Reserve Bank faces a crucial call.
What the decision means for your mortgage, your rent and the cost of living here at home.
Plus, win your share of free fuel. 7 News, live at 6.
Now, Fuel Watch. Perth's petrol prices brought to you by Fuel Watch and 7 News.
Fuel relief's here. This week, 7 News is giving away $20,000 worth of petrol nationwide. Jump onto 7news.com.au/free fuel now and enter tonight's code word Bowser for your chance to win a $250 voucher, and be watching tomorrow for another chance to enter.
Welcome back. We're in an autumn hot spell at the moment, peaking midweek. It was warm overnight. The low was 19.5. Then it climbed to 32 degrees in the city this afternoon. That was just before 2 p.m. Some areas made it to 33, including the airport, Bullsbrook and the Swan Valley. Our coolest spot was 30 along the coast in Hillary, so not too much of a difference across the metro area. In the city right now, there's a southerly breeze and it's hovering around 25 degrees. On the charts, we can see what's driving our autumn heat. A high is forming in the Bight and a trough is developing down our coastline. That's going to deepen to give us some hot days. Looking at the national forecast, a cloudy top of 31 for Sydney tomorrow. Rain expected for Melbourne and for Canberra. A warm 29 in Brisbane, and it's looking cloudy for Adelaide. And around WA tomorrow, it's looking clear everywhere except the top end. 38 degrees for Port Hedland. 39 for Geraldton, and Bustleton is getting to 32 tomorrow. On local waters, light easterly winds tomorrow, tending northeasterly in the morning, then southeast to southwest in the late afternoon. The seas and swell around a metre. So warm again tonight. We're down to 20, then a hot top of 35 degrees tomorrow. Wednesday is going to be the hottest on the forecast. Sunny with a top of 36 degrees, and it's staying hot for Thursday, sunny and 35. Friday, mostly sunny and 33. And for the weekend, mostly sunny and 33 again on Saturday, then sunny and 30 on Sunday, and more of the same for next Monday. Now, for tonight's winning lotto numbers, they are 19, 16, 11, 3, 43, 34, and the supplementary numbers are 37 and 23. Those numbers again, 19, 16, 11, 3, 43, 34, and the supplementary numbers are 37 and 23. Tim and Ange.
Thanks, Sam. That's 7 News for this Monday. I'll be back with updates throughout the evening.
For the latest stories, head to 7news.com.au. Enjoy the rest of your nights here on 7.